So this is module 11, networking, N for networking, and the key to pretty much all of your networking from your laptop to the internet is through the router. And this is just a quick technical overview of what's going on under the skin, and you may wish to hop over to the next module at this point, as it's not particularly critical to your progress through this course unless you get some technical issues, and this will help to solve at least one of those. So the router and your machine have been assigned a number. It's a 32-bit number, which is 4 bytes, and the number is issued to your laptop by the router on demand. So when your laptop fires up, then the router will issue an IP address. And the IP address is this number, which typically will look something like 192.168.0.8. Now the router itself has got 2 IP addresses. One IP address will be on the external face, which is going out to the internet, and the other will be on its internal face, which is going to all of the devices which are connected to the router from inside your house or your room. And this one here of 192.168.0.8 is just one of the IP addresses that has been issued, and the IP address for the router itself typically will be 192.168.0.1. So the IP address is nothing that you need to be too concerned about, but the IP address has to be on your machine in the same group of numbers as the ones which are delivered by the router. Now there is another IP address that you should be aware of, and this is more to do with the troubleshooting part of this. If your IP address on your laptop starts with 169.254, that means that it's been unable to get an IP address from your router. So the automatic issuing of IP addresses has gone haywire. Now if your IP address is 169.254.something.something, then you will not be able to access the router, and you will not be able to access the internet with those numbers. And these are issued automatically by Windows 10 when your laptop has been unable to get an IP address from the router. So we'll have a look at how you can establish what IP address that you've got. So here we are in settings, and when you're in settings, select network and internet for finding out what's going on with your network. And this particular laptop is connected to Wi-Fi. So if we highlight the Wi-Fi part of the menu on the left, then it will show you what your network connections are. And you can see we're connected to my internal router, which is called Sky 129B1. It's connected and it's secured, and if I click on the button that says show available networks, then these are the networks which are available to my router. But if I click on hardware properties, then these are the settings that have been delivered to this laptop by the router, and you can see the IP version 4 address is 192.168.0.8, and the DNS server, DNS stands for Domain Naming Service, and this is listed as 192.168.0.1, and that is the IP address of the router that I'm using internally. So these two numbers are very similar, just apart from the 4th number in the sequence. These things are called octets, not that you need to worry too much about that. So the DNS server is the server that actually translates the names from your browser, like www.bbc.co.uk into the IP address of the BBC, and the DNS server provides that function. So every network, or particularly the internet, or anyone running TCP/IP, will have a DNS server in it. So finally, I just want to point out that you can connect from your laptop to other computers and other devices which are also getting their IP address from this router, and you can connect to another machine by either by IP address or through a process of shared folders. And if you look in Windows Explorer, you'll see that there is a network option in there, and that will then build up a list of other machines which are on the network. And likewise, you can connect to a printer which will also have received its IP address from the router which you're sharing with the laptop and any other machines on the network, including any smartphones, iPads, etc., etc. So that's a quick look at networking. So that's the end of Module 11, networking. Look forward to seeing you all in Module 12.